What's up, everybody? My name is Jeremy Rosado, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Listen, this isn't an official podcast because I don't have one of those yet, but I do have some friends and some family and some people that are just a part of my life that I love having conversations with. And this gentleman here, David, what's up, man? How are you, bro?
Jeremy, it's a pleasure to be with you and see you again.
You too, man. I call him Dave. I know it's David. Can you give the people your last name? I don't want to mess it up. How do you pronounce it?
Pettinato, David Pettinato.
Pettinato. Okay, cool. Awesome, man. Listen, Dave has been a part of my life, he and his wife, and just been I'd like to say a mentor, an investor in my life in multiple ways, and just super supportive. And so, man, I've been chasing this dream of music for a long time, and I appreciate everything you guys have been to me, man. So I just want to throw that out there first so that people kind of get the backstory of where the relationship even comes from, man. So again, how are you doing?
Doing really well. And I remember just a little quick story. I remember first seeing you at the church you were singing there, and my wife and I looked to each other and we said, "This guy has some serious set of pipes on him," and you just rocked it out. You're so good.
Thank you
So
so much, man.
God bless, man. God bless.
You too, man. All right, listen, I wanted to just have this conversation. I wanted to get this out to the people. My name is Jeremy Rosado. If you've seen this, you don't know who I am. Just kind of want to give set up the situation here, give a little bit of context. I'm a recording artist. I sing Christian music. I was on a TV show called The Voice and a TV show called American Idol. All these years later, I've been putting out music. And this year, my album came out. And Dave and his company were incredible sponsors for the album release shows here in Tampa. They were a big success for us. It was two great nights of celebrating with the fans and people locally in Tampa. And one of the things that we had a conversation about was like, well, if we're jumping in as sponsors, how can we get this company out to my platform and followers and people as well? And so I don't want to mess up the company's name either, Dave. So I'm going to hand it over to you. Can you introduce the company to the people, and then we'll jump into some questions?
Thank you. The firm is older Lundy, Koch and Martino. It's a law firm that's been around for at least 20 some years now. We have multi-facets. Some of us do probate, some do family law, some do divorce, some do wills and estate, personal injury. My team does first party property and bad faith. So what that means is I represent only policyholders who have had damages to their homes, buildings, or structures that have been damaged by wind, fire, lightning, hurricane, sinkhole, and the insurance company either underpays them or denies their claim. Then they hire me, and I act as the policyholder's advocate to extract out every last penny owed to them under the policy.
Heard. Okay, awesome. And the other reason why this relationship even works in this moment, like having this conversation, is because you guys are located here in Tampa, correct? And do you guys service all of the state of Florida? Where do you guys work out of? Who can you
Yeah,
support?
yeah, we have multiple offices. I work out of the Tampa office, but especially with nowadays with the internet and everything's via Zoom, electronic, there's no, out of the 67 counties, there's not one county that we've been involved in. And I litigate outside the state of Florida, Texas, and Georgia, and other states that have had insurance claims and people looking for help there too.
Okay, awesome. It's good to know. I want the people to know who's watching this, anybody on my pages, wherever they're seeing this on our website, on your website, to know where they can even access help from you guys, where they'd have to be. Okay, Dave. So I've got some questions that me and the team have put together. And then we asked my fans and supporters some other questions, and they sent those in. And so if you're cool, this is just going to be a bunch of questions I'm throwing at you just to get to know exactly what you guys are all about and how you can support the people watching this, how they can get connected with you guys. Is that cool?
Awesome. Love it.
All
Thank
right,
you.
here we go. First question for you. What's the very first thing someone should do if their insurance claim is denied?
Well, first of all, ask that you have to contest it and do it in writing. Every communication you do with the insurance company, you need to put it in writing. Even if you speak with the adjuster on the phone or talk to him in person, you always then turn around and memorialize that conversation in writing to the adjuster, to the insurance company. Hey, you were out of my property. You said this, I said that, because down the road, the insurance representatives will more than likely either have a different idea of what occurred or what was said or try to deny it altogether. So first of all, tell them you dispute the denial or their decision, ask for a reinspection. And then if that doesn't work, then you need to go potentially talk to somebody that has more, they could look at the facts and be able to determine whether your claim might be able to go to the next step, either through legal methods or other alternative methods of resolution.
Heard. Yeah. And another thing that I'm thinking through, Dave, as we're just sitting here and kind of stuff's going through my head, it's like we live in Florida, obviously. And that's why this is so important because natural disasters happen every year, multiple times a year. And so I think information like this, even like my parents who have owned homes in the past, and I think this is super beneficial because I remember finding ourselves in situations where we didn't have the support maybe we needed, or even the access to ask the right questions. And so I love that. Next question for you, throwing at you. How important is it to read the denial letter carefully? And then what should people look for after that?
Well, the denial letter is probably one of the most important things or communications you're going to get from the insurance company because in a denial letter, they can send you two. One is we're accepting coverage or we're denying coverage. Denying coverage, they have to explain with specificity as to why your claim is not covered. Cite policy conditions, cite facts. For example, say that you didn't, you failed to mitigate your damages when the loss occurred, or you didn't report the claim timely enough. They have to explain what the reasons are, the basis. And then at that point, you should be able to refute it right back, say to them, I saw the denial letter. I disagree with you. I never did this or I never said that, and see if you can get them to change their opinion. If not, take that to somebody that has a, like, I could take a look at it or take it to somebody that has the knowledge enough to be able to know how to respond at that point.
Understood. Okay, next question. What kinds of documents or evidence carry the most weight in an appeal after you've been denied?
All right, so your claim has been denied. What do you need? Well, most importantly is you need to know what the basis was for the denial. Under Florida law, the insurance company has to provide you with an explanation of benefits. So what that means is if they're going to deny your claim, they're going to have to specify with specificity what specific facts that they had to deny it. Sometimes they'll hire an engineer or a building consultant and they'll cite that in the denial letter, but they won't provide it to you.
Hmm.
So that's almost like you're a kid in school saying, hey, somebody told me that you just took the baseball out and stole it from the team. Now they don't have a ball. Well, who was that? I want to confront him. No, no. So you need to tell them right back, say, I'd like to have the documents that you're relying on so now I can read them and have somebody else read them and determine whether they're correct or not.
Huh.
The next thing is another thing that's important with the pulling stuff together. Make sure you get a copy of the policy, a complete copy. Your agents won't give you a copy. They won't have, but you ask the insurance company for what's called a certified copy of the policy because the policy um, directs what's covered and not, and what facts or actions that you may do that potentially could void your coverage or allow them to non-pay. So getting a copy of the policy is really, really important, and getting the documents that they're citing to for the basis of denial.
Hmm. Super helpful. All right. Next question. We got a bunch of these, so I'm just going to keep throwing them at you.
Okay.
Can homeowners realistically handle an appeal on their own, or do they usually need the help of someone like you, of a law firm like you guys?
So I know I look really young, Jeremy. I know you're saying, gee, Dave,
You
you haven't
do.
been doing this 30 years, but I've been doing this 30 years and I used to do insurance defense for a while. So let me tell you, maybe like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, you could have handled it on your own. Nowadays, the way the insurance companies are reconstructed their claims handling procedures and denial process, you're going to need help. And so maybe the first line of help, if you don't want to go legal and talk to an attorney about it to give you advice, is you file a complaint with the Department of Financial Services, the DFS. You go online, file a complaint with them, and tell them what your facts are, and then your insurance company denied a claim, outline what their reasons is. Now, the insurance company gets that; they have to respond to the DFS, and so you'll get to see that response, and hopefully that'll be the first line. The next thing is in Florida, you could file what's called on your own a civil remedy notice of insurer violations. Civil remedy notice of insurer violation. One line and do that yourself as a policyholder. It's kind of complicated. You may need some legal advice or help. And that's where my firm comes in. We do those pro bono, give you advice on how to do that. But those are the two first things you need to do. And then after that, if that doesn't get you results, then you need to go talk to an attorney.
Absolutely. Gotcha. Okay. Now, just kind of shift just a second. What are the most common reasons insurance companies would deny these claims in the first place?
Untimely notice, especially with in Florida, we live in a world, the number one place for world relating wind claims, hurricane claims, wind gust claims, high intensity winds and hail. And so most time people don't realize the extent of the damages that they have related to wind. They see a windstorm come or like Hurricane Milton or Hurricane Helene. They go, oh, I looked at my house. It's still standing. It didn't look like Wizard of Oz ripping up in the air next to a cow. But it doesn't happen a lot of time where you have damage to your roof. You
Hmm.
have damage to tiles that you can't see because you're on the ground. Then all of a sudden, maybe 5, 6 months later, you start seeing water coming in, leaking, spot staining in your different bedrooms or different rooms of the house. And then you report it, and the carrier says, well, you should have told me like 4 months ago. When you say, I didn't know about it, doesn't matter. Late notice in Florida is a valid defense, and they're getting vicious on using that. I have a claim, Jeremy. My
Yeah.
clients couldn't get to the island. They lived on a barrier island because the ferry had shut down. The only way to get there was like 5 days after the hurricane. They reported the loss as soon as they were allowed back in, and the insurance company denied the claim on late notice. 5 days, and he couldn't even get to the house to see how
That's
bad the damage was to
insane.
report it.
That's insane.
Hmm.
It's terrible to think that there's so many like workarounds for reasons why they could even like deny something like this. It's so important, especially where we live, where like you're saying,
Yep.
wind gusts from hurricanes and all these different kind of natural disasters. That's insane to me. All right, moving on to the next one. How often are denials actually the result of small technicalities in the policy? It's actually perfect to what you just told me there. Is that something that happens frequently?
Oh yeah. Oh, so let me just say this:
Yeah.
they called RFIs, requests for information. A technicality in the policy of insurance is that there is a duties in the event of loss provision, which outlines the policyholder's obligations after a loss. One of them, like if you look at it, it'll say within 60 days from the date of loss, you have to give us this form properly executed and notarized. People don't read that. And
Mm.
so you're 61 days after the storm on that technicality. If you haven't read the policy, you're done. And
Well,
the case law will say you're done. Even if you have a valid claim and thousands and millions of dollars in damages, it doesn't matter. You violated that one little technical provision. Also, if insurance company writes you and says they want these records and they'll list them out A through Z, you must respond back to those and say, look, I don't have A, I have B, it's attached, I have C, I don't have D, E, or F, there's no such thing. You got to let them know with specificity because if you don't, and if you write back and say your request for A to Z for the documents, look at attached, they will say they never got the documents that were responsive and they never knew that the ones that you didn't have or don't exist weren't necessary for them to need to ask for. So
wow.
it's like it's a circular argument though.
Yeah.
Well, you never provided to me. Well, I didn't have them, but I didn't know that. So I got to deny the claim. It's
Wow.
bad. Yeah.
Wow. That's insane. All right. If the insurance company says damage is not covered, who steps in? Or what steps in? I'm so sorry. If the insurance company says the damage is not covered, what steps can people take to double check to make sure they're not being, this isn't just incorrect information from the insurance company?
Right. Well, you can ask for a reinspection, ask them to come back out when you're there, walk them through, and then use facility show them damages, and make sure you video the tape during the inspection because that you can do, as
Okay.
long as as long as you're in public and the person has no expectation of privacy, you can videotape the inspection, and there you are pointing out the damages to the people because a lot of times the clients, the policyholders will point the damages out to the field adjuster inspecting it. And then the field adjuster later on will say, no, they never showed me the damages. So document it, verify, and then when you're done with the inspection, you write back to the insurance company and say, I met Jimmy Jones out at the property today. He inspected. I showed him these areas that were damaged. I need you to take a look at it and send me your photographs that you have those documented. You want to ask them because they're taking photographs
Yeah.
and they should have them. If they don't
Yeah.
send you photographs of the damage you showed them, then
Yeah.
either they lost them, they destroyed them, or they pretended to take them and they didn't.
Got you. So I think that's incredible information. The fact that you are actually allowed to record this, video record it, right? So that there's foolproof here, right? Another step you're saying is make sure that in the recording you're pointing the things out clearly, like verbally, and so they can clearly see them. And then after that's done, make sure that in writing you hit up the insurance company,
Mhm.
let them know that this just happened. This person was here, this adjuster or whoever they are, and get the photos that they took, just so that all of these steps are in place. So that if God forbid a denial came in, you'd
Hmm.
have you'd be able to
Hmm.
double down and say, listen, I have all of this.
Right. And you know, the the best thing about it is you're going to ask for that documents and they're going to not give it to you, which even is better for you
Mm,
because it looks like they're trying to hide something because they're going to say, well, it's work product. I'm not going to give you our photographs. Well, how can they? You have to give me the photographs, but they won't. And then until
understood.
we sue them, and then they're going to have to give you the photographs.
Heard, heard. Okay, cool. All right. Now let's go to another one. Uh, what should someone do if they feel the settlement amount offered is far too low, like what they're actually like entitled to?
Right. First thing is do not sign any type of release. A lot of times the insurance company will dangle what I call a carrot in front of you this, with some money on it. They know, and it's one of the rules of bad faith litigation tactics, where the insurance company in Florida has these rules and statutes that say you have to do a insurance claim and handle it in good faith. When you don't, they've adjusted your claim in bad faith. So when there's bad faith adjustment of your claim, uh, one of the biggest things is when you'll see is the insurance company will dangle some money in front of the policyholder who is desperate to get insurance benefits to start doing their repairs.
Heard.
Right? The old adage in the world of insurance law is that the longer the time period it takes for the policyholder to get paid, it softens the resolve of the insured to accept something less than they're actually entitled to.
Wow.
So the first month after the loss, you're like, I want $1 or dollar of my damages. You wait a year, you'll be saying, I'll take 60 cents on the dollar.
Wow.
The insurance companies know that, and they're going to wait you out and push you and push you, push you, and then make you try to get something less. When really they should have paid you within a month, they should have paid you all the monies they're owed. You wait a year, you'll take half of that, and they just save themselves half
Wow.
of the monies that they should have paid you. That's why if you feel that's happening, call your senator, call your congressman, write the governor, because these individuals are there to work for you, and they're there to follow up with the insurance company if there's problems. We don't utilize them enough. I mean, right
Wow.
now, I'm not really happy with our the legislature because they're really not doing anything to help us. The governor's not, the legislature. So you need to write to them and keep telling them we need help. Get us some help.
Next question for you. You mentioned bad faith. What does bad faith mean in the insurance world, and how can you recognize it happening?
Well, as I said, there's statutes that have been promulgated, written that require the insurance companies to follow certain procedures. And let me just go through a couple. One
Yeah.
is they can't misrepresent the policy's terms and conditions to you. If they do that, that's bad faith. So misrepresenting a term or condition of the policy is reading the policy and saying, oh, you have to provide this document in 10 days when there is no requirement to provide it in 10 days. But
Mm,
they'll do that. Say, you have 10 days to get this to me, but the policy doesn't say that. That's misrepresenting what the policy says. Another thing is dangling this carrot, this offer to settle and give you money that we call undisputed for a release. That means they're holding your money hostage, knowing that you need this money and will not give it to you until you sign a release. And more people than not will just say, I need to get the money. I need to start doing the repairs. And they'll sign a release, which is signing your way to ask for any more insurance benefits.
wow.
That's quintessential bad faith. That's very wrong. It's like extorting money from a policyholder who's been paying premiums for years. Now
Wow.
you're not going to give them the money that's owed to them until they release you from you getting sued from them because what the insurance company did was terrible.
Wow. All right. Now, coming into some of the questions that were also submitted to us, this has been a mixed bag. Some of the stuff we decided we wanted to ask you, but we actually asked some people anything that they wanted to know. What would they be interested in knowing if they were affected by a situation like this, and how your law firm could help them, Dave? So something we've got is, at what point should someone consider hiring an attorney like you guys for an insurance dispute? Maybe after something. What's the timetable there?
All right. So residential claims in the state of Florida, the insurance company must pay them out and resolve them within 90 days. Now, there's a caveat in there that says unless some unreasonable act of God comes up or something comes up that they can't, but 90 days. So if you have not been paid on a residential claim in 90 days, then you need to start looking around to start getting assistance to assist you. Now, if it's a commercial loss, you own a building or you're an HOA, then they don't have the 90 days, but a reasonable time period to be able to get that done is probably about within 3 to 4 months. So they should be able to have large claims, commercial losses, large buildings evaluated within 3 to 4 months and have monies tendered to you. Now, sometimes the investigation, the size and scope of the damage in the building may be large, but it doesn't mean they can't tender you what's called undisputed monies. So let's just say you had 15 buildings or you're a commercial owner and they said, well, it's going to take us 3 or 4 months to inspect them. Okay, but you know the damage is X amount already.
Hmm.
So pay me that 50,000, pay me that 100,000 so I can start doing the repairs. So if you get no money during the investigation and they admitted coverage, then that's a problem and you can do something sooner. Remember, time is on the insurance company's side, not yours. So try to timely follow up and get with an attorney or a claim professional to assist.
Okay. Hey, follow up that's not even in my questions, just me to you, now that I'm listening to that answer. If there was a hurricane that happened, or some kind of situation where they would need some of this assistance, what would it cost for them to reach out to you guys? And how could they get in touch with you right away? Like you guys specifically at Older Lundy.
Good question. So we take everything on a contingency basis, meaning that my time you talk to me about the claim doesn't cost anything. If I decide to take the case on a contingency basis, it's worked on a percentage from the insurance benefits, and it's a sliding scale. So pre-suit, it might be 10%. Once we get into suit, depending on the facts, percentages may go up. So it's just depending upon the size of the claim and the complexity of the claim. Now, also, there's public adjusters out there. Public adjusters are those individuals that will work for the policyholder and assist them during the adjustment of the claim, but they're not attorneys. They're insurance adjusters who work just for the policyholder. That might be a person you want to talk to too as well. And they usually sign things up at least maybe 5 to 10% is they'll take. In catastrophes, they can't take more than 10%. So that's another potential advocate if you're a little concerned about going legal. But if you talk to us, you'll really find out I can walk you through all the facts. I can walk you through all the situation. It's not that scary. It's just, it's going to be just a battle with the insurance company. I can tell them that.
Such good information, man. I think sometimes people, especially if they went through some damage like that, maybe money's tight, you know what I mean? And it's good to know that at least the conversation to get started with you is a free convo. And then from there, percentages, like you said, and I think that's really good for the people to know. Anybody watching this, listen, if you have experienced anything like this, any kind of damage or from one of these natural disasters, listen, reach out to this incredible company, reach out to Dave and maybe start those conversations if you find yourself even just being unsure of where to step next and how to move forward. So I got a couple more questions for you, Dave. Next one is, what is the difference between the mediation, the arbitration, and going to court?
Okay, good question. That's
Yeah.
becoming big now. So mediation is where the two parties, the insurance company and the policyholder, uh, agree to a neutral third party who then they explain the facts of the case to, and the mediator helps the two parties come to a resolution by meeting in the middle someplace. That's what mediation is. Mediation is usually non-binding. So if you go to mediation and one side says they'll settle for X, the other one says X plus 10, you can't come to a number, it's done. Arbitration is different. It's where the two parties, the insurance company and policyholder, come together before an arbitrator. You both tell the arbitrator your positions, what you're looking for, and then the arbitrator makes the decision. When he makes the decision, it's done. In other words, if he doesn't agree with you as the policyholder or the insurance company, whatever number he comes up with, it could be the insurance company's number, it could be your number, or an amalgamation between the two. That's the number, and you can't go back and refute it and say it wasn't valid. As long as there's no fraud involved, it's in Florida, the courts will enforce an arbitration. You don't really want to do arbitration.
Gotcha.
If you're going to do that, you might as well do a little go to a trial, which is the third one is because here you have one person that's making a decision on with all the different facts. And you might also let a jury hear that because I think our jury will be more sympathetic to your position and understand all the differences in the problems that you went through. Because you cannot shake a stick in Florida without talking to somebody who's had a claim, whose family member had a claim, or whose family member's friend had a claim. So we're all connected together in the state of Florida because we all
Well,
know people that have had claims.
yeah. Some I'm learning just as a side note, Dave, some I'm learning the older I get is like, I used to think that maybe sometimes someone's word was like everything. And then I'm realizing that like different people's different opinions can almost, it can not just play in your favor, it could get you like the fair compensation or whatever the situation is, than just leaning on one person making a decision and what they feel in that day instead of having
Mm-hmm.
a couple voices or three voices that could also speak into it. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's really good advice from you. Yeah, for sure. All right, I've got a few more for you. Are there alternative dispute resolution methods faster or cheaper than filing that lawsuit? Or are those three situations the only route to walk down?
Well, alternative dispute resolution or ADR methodologies, those are the three, but there's one other one. The other one is called appraisal. So some policies will have appraisal provision in it where it says if the insurance company and the policyholder dispute on the amount of loss, not coverage, on the amount of loss, then each side can choose an appraiser who then get together to try to come to a number. And if they can't agree, those two appraisers will pick an independent third party, and if two of the three agree on a number, it's done. It's set in stone, and you
Okay.
can't change it unless there's some type of fraud involved. Now, appraisal provisions are being taken out of the policies because insurance companies are losing those. So they're taking them out. They don't want to go to appraisal. Or you'll see in the olden days um, where the appraisal provision was if I'm the policyholder and the insurance company we disagree, I say my loss is 100,000. The insurance company says it's 50. I say I want to go to appraisal to resolve the difference. It used to be one person who could demand it. Now they're changing the language of the policy to say two people have to agree. So if I demand it, the other and the insurance company doesn't agree, you can't go to appraisal.
Well,
So that's a big problem. Although it's a potential better avenue, but I think you should talk to it. Give me a call about it, and we'll talk about what's the best way to try to resolve it without actually filing suit.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, heard. Okay, two more questions for you, Dave. This one is, how can someone know which option, mediation, arbitration, or legal action makes the most sense for their situation? I know you've kind of spoken a bit to it already, and you're saying I would stay away from arbitration, but like how, I guess the best way that they would know is by contacting you guys directly, right? Starting that conversation.
well, here's the thing: is you're not going to know, and the insurance companies are going to play on your um, no, lack of knowledge on the
Mm,
system and how it works, and play on that, and to talk to you like they're going to be your best friend at Starbucks, but it's not. So you need to talk to an attorney. You got to give me a call or talk to potentially a public adjuster. They'll help you out and give you some better advice and instruct you in your situation, in your set of facts, and with your personal finances, what would be the best way to go.
heard. Okay. All right. One more question for you, Dave. Do insurance companies take claims more seriously when a lawyer gets involved on a person's behalf?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So that's a really interesting question. So you have claims that are adjusted by these representatives, these claims adjusters. And
Okay.
so if you can imagine, I don't know if you ever watched Star Trek, they have the three-tiered chessboard,
I've never seen
and
it.
then, oh my
The people
gosh,
watching may have. The people watching may have.
okay. So Star Trek, you have these three-level chessboard. You're on the bottom level with the first adjuster and the claim manager. They've made a decision. They decided what they're going to do. They are not going to go back and tell their bosses, "Oh, we made a wrong decision. We need to pay this policyholder more money." So once it goes into the litigation, it gets kicked up to another level where the next, like a claim litigation manager or an attorney will take a look at it, who'll have a different set of eyes on it. And that's what you need. You need to get it out from the lower level, because the ones at the next level and the ones up, they don't care about the person on the bottom. They're just trying to make a decision, potentially try to resolve a claim for the policyholder, and they're not worried about losing their jobs. So that's why, and if you are the attorney and the policyholder, you throw the first level adjuster under the bus and say, "Hey, he came out. I showed him the damages. He didn't take any photographs of them. He didn't write them. His estimate doesn't have them in there." And so it helps out. It really helps out.
Heard. Dave, that's all the questions I have for you tonight, man. Hey, I want to I again, some of these were actually questions from the fans, from the supporters of mine that just had wanted to know even how to move forward. And so I would say to anybody watching this, because this is at this point, if you're seeing this, it is recorded and you can see this online. I just want to give the people a clear way to get in touch with you guys directly again. So the first thing I'm going to say is you can click the link in my bio over on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and you will find Older, Lundy, Koch, and Martino's website link there. So you can go click it. If you follow me, if you're a fan of mine, you have any questions, you need any information, you live in the state of Florida, make sure that you click the link in my bio to find them. But Dave, how else and where else would you tell the people to go find you guys?
Well, you can send me an email. It's on our website, but also my direct number to my office is 813-254-8998, 813-254-8998. And you know what, Jeremy? Just for your guys, your
Okay.
followers, your fans, I'm going to give them my cell number. They can
Okay.
call me anytime at home,
There we
and it's
go.
813-943-9840, 813-943-9840. And so
Awesome, man.
call
Hey
me.
guys, this is a good man. It's like family to me. I trust them. I would never even ask for partnership if I didn't believe in them and they didn't believe in me. And so thank you guys, Dave, for partnering with us
Thank
and
you.
believing in my ministry and my vision, man. And I thank you for what you're doing for people, man. This is like your ministry. You're helping people when they are in need and maybe not being treated the way they should be. And so I appreciate you. Anybody watching this, again, go to the link in my bio and you can find Dave and his company. Thank you so much for the time tonight, man. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you.
God bless. And thank you
God
very
bless
much
you,
for
man.
allowing me the opportunity to get the word out, because
Absolutely.
I always say I walk with angels the way I do, because the insurance company are just devils.
All right, man. It's good talking to you.